I feel like cheating is feeling guilty as a result of interacting with the opposite sex. That can be physical, emotional, I know, flirting. If you feel guilty about it,
then it was probably cheating.
I think it's more.
In a way, alright, there's more, but I feel like that's the basis. We can work with that.
Yeah, I think it's more than a feeling. I think it's the act of disloyalty. Cheating is being disloyal to someone who you've made a promise to be loyal to. So whether it's, I mean, some people say talking to other people while you're bound to that person is cheating, or whether it's engaging in a sexual act. I think it's more of the act of it rather than the feeling of guilt.
Because I know certain relationships where the partners, they can go to parties and dance with other people and it's fine. As long as nothing escalates. Like dancing, it's fine. Flirting to a certain extent is fine. Instagram, all that stuff is fine. Up to a certain extent. Some people, like, that's a no-go. Absolutely no-go. She's following you, he's following you. Nope, you're cheating on me. Do you understand? So, if you know the limits of your relationship and it can cause an argument, it's not that it's cheating, but I don't know.
It goes in with the loyalty thing though. When you're with someone and you're bound to that person, you have made a promise that you will not be disloyal to them. So you two would obviously discuss what that regards. So some people, like you said, might be happy with you dancing with someone else, but if you know that they're not happy with you dancing with someone else, that's an act of disloyalty because you know they're not happy with it. So it's discovering what you guys are both comfortable with, and that will redefine what this disloyalty thing is.
That's fine. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. Like,
no, I feel like cheating is defined as like, so what you said, it's more like an act of, you know, showing disloyalty to the person that you've obviously committed yourself to. But then it depends how far that extent goes to as well, because some people can see, like, if I put my arm around you right now, some people be like, oh, she's cheating on her man or whatever. But in other relationships, it's actually okay for you to do that as long as you know yourself that you're not going to go to that extent. Do you see what I'm saying? So it kind of depends where your standards are with what is classed as cheating and what isn't. Because some people take it as a flirtatious thing. For some people, it's like it's the compliment, like, oh yeah, you look nice, and like, why are you flirting with that person? That's cheating. Do you see what I'm saying? So it kind of depends to where your expectations lie with what you think cheating is in that relationship.
Yeah. I've got to go deep right here. I feel like, for me, I define cheating right from where it begins in here. And I feel like, because I feel like once it happens in here, you kind of like, just the way how most things work and they begin in your mind, once it starts to happen in your mind, you kind of open the door for it to be possible in like reality. So before you approach a person, before you think to start chatting to, you know, this new guy who you met on the street, there's obviously that thought, and it can even be like due to even the circumstances of your relationship. So it might be you're not getting enough attention from your man, and yeah, he's just not giving you any more attention. And then you met this guy at a networking event that you went to, and you're like, okay, I'm gonna hit him up now. I feel like you've already, so you're not necessarily, it might even seem innocent. You've not done anything, but you're there already because the intention behind what you're doing is you're moving from who you're committed to this next person because of the state of the relationship. So already, like, you're basically cheating, you're in that place. That's how I see it.
yeah, it's not necessarily always because of the relationship status or what's happening. It could be just because, like, do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
The reason why people cheat is like another discussion. Like,
if you have the thought to hit the person up,
Yeah.
but then you don't hit them up, did you cheat?
Well, I wouldn't
By your
know.
definition.
I wouldn't say you've like committed the act of cheating, but I will, like, I'm all for honesty in a relationship. So, like, in a relationship with someone, if I did have a thought about another person, I would tell my man and say, I had this thought about someone else. I would be that honest with them, because if I allowed to just, okay, yes, I controlled it in that moment, but I can have the thought again and have the thought another day, and if I allow it to just continue, it might become...
Is that you feeling guilty about that thought you first had?
I guess, yeah. I guess you could say it's the guilt, but I would share it with my partner, because then it wouldn't feel like it's just something... I feel like this... Me keeping it to myself is almost me hiding and almost me saying...
Do you feel like you're emotionally cheated?
In a sense, I almost feel like I'm allowing... I'm giving room for it to be possible for me to actually do it in reality. If I have the thought and maybe, you know, have the thought again and I don't say anything, it's just like, okay, yeah, the likelihood is that could happen, and I'm making it possible. I'm making room for, you know, me thinking about the guy at the office, him being cute. He's at, you know, we went lunch the other day, all those thoughts, and not being honest about it. I'm working my way up to something potentially happening. Yeah, that's, I don't know.
Can I interject? So are we saying there's a common definition of cheating in our generation then?
No, not a common consensus.
We go around and answer that question one by one.
Oh, I thought I did.
Okay, cool. It can't be defined simply because cheating involves relationships. Relationships involve communication. Communication involves a union in understanding. And in order to have a union in understanding, sometimes you need to agree to disagree or use reason and then agree on certain things. And I feel like in our generation it doesn't happen simply because there are some people who, for example, girls or guys who have been cheated on, who portray their views on stuff like Facebook, Twitter, social media and so forth. Oh yes, I'm probably looking that way. It's been made before. But yeah, you get to like air their views on social media and stuff like that. Anyways, there's people who retweet. There's some people who retweet for the sake of retweeting. There's some people who retweet for drama. Like there's lots of... It always ends up being some form of interpretation of someone's action. That's always what it's going to come down to. And because of that, not many people can agree on whatever that thought is or whatever that thing is or whatever that definition is. Because, for example, with regards to loyalty, that's very correct. However, you said by being loyal to someone, you've made a promise to them that you're going to act a particular way. That's an unspoken promise.
Yeah,
like it's not something that you physically say to someone, innit? So it then becomes your interpretation of what that promise is.
Unless you speak about
exactly,
it with your
which
partner.
most relationships don't do.
Guilty.
And in order to do that, you have to have a general level of communication, which is why when we was quick throwback to the last time when we were speaking about, like catching feelings and like the hookup culture and stuff like that. Again, that also, when things go wrong is when the girl usually starts catching feelings or the guy catches feelings and there's no genuine level of communication. How it usually goes, more times than none, is the girl catches feelings, the guy's not really interested, but and he's sometimes made it clear, sometimes he's not made it clear, sometimes he strings her along, but she's aware that she feels something and she doesn't have that same general energy, but she feels like it will come, and then it doesn't. He ends up going out with someone else. That's usually how it happens, but it's usually because of an unspoken promise or an unspoken truth that's not really said in terms of communicating. So because of that, we're going to struggle to get to the definition of what a promise is. We'll have our own different ideas, but in terms of having a general understanding of community, I think it'll be quite difficult. It's proven quite difficult over time, in my opinion. Signing out.
I would say, I guess, a similar thing in the sense that I guess cheating will be defined by the two people who are in the relationship, like what cheating like potentially is for them. But I guess there is quote unquote the like general consensus of what cheating might look like across the board. Like, I don't know, some people obviously work around that with themselves, but if I saw my girl's man outside doing a particular thing, I don't know what they've discussed in their relationship about what they would define as cheating, but I might see something that he's doing and I might count it as cheating because like that's how we all see cheating. So he might just be standing outside the building proper giggling and being proper touchy-feely with some girl, and I'm thinking see, like, so there's that. So I guess, I don't know, it goes both ways. It's the two people and it's like what obviously, but you, I guess in your relationship you have to choose what like you go by.
Is it me?
Stop one and ponder from this thought.
It's just because
They're like digested it.
yeah, because like I've just been sat here listening to you all like talking about this, trying to actually absorb what you're saying, like, and get a different perspective, and like, forgive me because I always go really far out on things in it, but
Let's go there.
I just like dissecting this shit on my Dr. Frankenstein shit, man. Like, but honestly, like, I've just thought about this more from an angle like, I don't think there will ever be a general consensus on anything, even with cheating, obviously, which is the topic today, because it's just about like a set of principles, isn't it? Like cheating is I would say like to do with principles, and there are so many different principles in life that people have, and like you have guards around those principles because they're what you're believing, because they're what you make your reality, right? And one of the guards, obviously, to I don't say what is it, like monogamy and like love and faith is like cheating, obviously. So everyone is gonna have a different
God.
different guard, a different like looking guard depending on how they view that thing. Because it might be a big principle that you have, so you have huge guards around that. Like there are different levels to which people believe in things, and like some people don't believe in, I don't know, being faithful to their partner as you might do, for example. So like you just have to find in life people who have the similar like
Principles.
similar size of that principle that you deal with, innit? Like, and you just have to find the people.
So can I just say, so we're obviously all living in London, I suppose, yeah, we're all living in London, we're all part of the same young society that's just growing up in this city. Now, can we like contextualize it and make it very real in it, because we've all kind of grown up, like went to schools, we've all been in the same area. Why do we, have different definitions of cheating then?
People go through different things in life. Like
People are people.
people
innit?
are people, bro. Just because we live in the same city, you go through
about
some
anyone.
nut shit in your household, and I might go through another crazy different thing. Like you don't know what anyone's going through, and people don't communicate.
You could talk
like
about
in this city,
you
so
could be talking about anyone.
you
Like,
could, bro. There's just
the
people
principle
deal
is the
with
same.
everything
Yeah.
here.
People
Like,
just do
principle is
things
principle.
differently.
just never
That's just
know.
all it is. Nobody is meant to be alike, so everybody is so different in their own ways that of course they're going to go about situations their own way as well.
Exactly.
Like, you wouldn't react to cheating the same way as you would, maybe, do you know what I'm saying? You might actually, but you never know. Like, everybody has a different way of thinking, so everybody has a different way about going about it. And what you think cheating is down to your own mindset and what you classify as going above that line and making that action and, taking that kiss or taking that girl's number, whatever it is. Like,
And also how you communicate that. That's important, how you communicate that.
yeah, true. It's true.
I feel like, just to answer the question, cheating is, we all see cheating as a physical act, like interaction, physical, touching, with, do you understand? Any other form of cheating can be argued. It's arguable, like, oh, you're talking every day. It's like, so.
Physical contact is
Does
Yeah,
that-
it depends what
Everything
you're
else
talking
is,
about though.
everything, I feel like everything else,
A hug
No,
is
wait,
physical
wait.
contact, no?
yeah.
If you don't like your man
Some-
hugging other girls,
Some
is that cheating?
Listen, I'm not sexual intent behind physical contact.
so now it
But-
becomes sexual.
Well,
But then
Yeah.
doesn't that
But that's your own
Taken-
perception.
doesn't that
because
take
there are
away-
people
Okay,
who
no,
have
no, no,
open
I'm
marriages.
trying to
People have
answer the
open
question
marriages. People
like
have
this.
open marriages.
like,
I'm trying to do this
It's your
right now.
perception.
Work with me. Hello. Work with me.
I mean, but then if you're in an open relationship, then like you've defined the boundaries of your relationship, so it's open. So it, for you guys, it doesn't become cheating. Like that conversation doesn't happen when we're talking about an open
Quick question. Is
marriage or
just,
relationship.
if you could just say, is everyone here keen on an open relationship?
No.
Let's
No,
throw it at the window
no.
then.
Yeah.
Absolutely not.
What is that?
I don't really know. I don't actually know what that means.
So does that,
People
So
are,
you're
who
with
are together,
somebody-
but they can sleep
See
with other
other
people.
For myself.
you can be
Yeah.
with other
What is
people?
that
Like
about?
a relationship.
Then there's
What's
no
an open
relationship.
relationship?
That is the
When-
most
when-
abstract.
I don't
Not-
understand.
not
There's
even
no
a
relationship then, that doesn't make-
I understand it.
It's
But
a
like
relation
different relationships.
ship, not a relation yacht. Like there's only meant to be. Do you know what I'm saying?
It's true,
Don't
guys.
get-
I can't believe it.
A relationship.
I don't get it though. Like that's what it is, no? Like,
I don't know.
free the crowd.
I don't know if there's a cheating culture like in like, to answer the question that you asked about like in London. I don't. One thing I would say though is I do think that there is, at least with people I've interacted with or had conversations with, there's a lot of like it's made to seem okay, like it's calm, like your man is like, your man's always gonna cheat on you, innit? Like you just have to live with it. I'm like,
yeah, no, I don't
Listen
believe
to
that.
the
Yeah,
music
yeah,
we
all of
listen
that
to
kind of
is
stuff.
talking about
Like,
it.
All of that stuff. I don't.
There's a it's somewhat glorified
Yeah,
as well in
100%.
in music, in culture.
I feel like it's just some girls that they just kind of like to encourage other girls to accept it as okay though, and then
Agreed.
obviously it kind of influences other people, and you know it's a chain of events, isn't it? Because it's like you might be okay with your man cheating on you, but that don't mean another girl is. So why you're putting it out there, like to say that it should just be accepted and you should learn to live around it, and you should encourage him if anything, if not support him with it. Like
That comes
seriously?
from insecurity,
Like,
in my opinion.
It probably is. I don't know, but it don't make no sense to me.
I want to throw this out to the guys. So do you think that that's the thing? Do you think that, because it's always boggled my mind how people say things like, oh, women are designed to be in monogamous relationships, but men aren't. They're not built that way. They can't. One man cannot be with one woman, so he has to cheat, and you just have to deal with it. What do you have to say about that?
But you're going into monogamy, and again, like that's all.
It's kind of cultural as well.
Like that's something that people have agreed to believe in as well, because there are places around the world where people believe in polygamy.
Yeah.
And like again, like even as African people, like coming from places that believed in that, you were given monogamy through Christianity. Like that's what you were given. Like it's part of the same context of all the BS I would say that you've been given. No, it's not. But like it's only BS because they teach you that that's the only reality. Like that's cool. Both of those things can exist
Very
together.
one-dimensional,
like,
literally.
But they're just realities that people believe in. They both exist. Why are you trying to stamp out the other? Like both of them exist. You just have to find someone who's on what you're on. Like it's so simple.
Okay, so you have to find someone who's on what you're on. So you don't think that the general consensus for men is that
There is
they
no
can't-
general
There's no general
consensus
consensus.
because I don't
As in
believe
the
in
general
that, but
consensus
someone
of
else
what?
might.
You know what I
What are
mean?
you
Like
talking
even
about?
within men, people have different perceptions of
like
things.
yeah, it's
Like,
not a man and
there's no
woman
general
thing.
consensus
This
of
is what I
anything.
think. It's
Right.
annoying though because I understand why women are having conversations in themselves because I've grown up in a household full of women and I know. I understand. Like I will never know because I've never go through the experience, but I understand what women have to go through from hearing mad shit that girls that I know, like her friends have told me happened to them, or like things that my sister might, just little things that she tells me that happened to her on the street where she's somewhere. Like I see it, but I can't know it. But like women are having these conversations so that they think, oh, we don't need to listen to men anymore, maybe, but because men have subjugated women to so much bullshit for thousands of years that women don't want to listen to men anymore. So there's no communication. But the fact that we're even sitting here today talking about this is like alleviating that stress of not having that conversation, and like we just need to realize that we have to communicate. Like
we're not all the same.
we're not all the same, guys. Don't do
Understand,
like, it's not every man's
sometimes
like,
we
oh
might
yeah,
agree
but I'm
to
gonna
disagree,
beat everything.
keep it
Nah,
moving.
bro,
You
I'm
know
not
what?
gonna
It's
believe
not
that.
on everything.
Like,
It's
I don't
okay.
believe that.
There is someone who will get me.
We've landed.
Thank
you.
That's all. You know, we can have this conversation, like we can be in a relationship, we can do, but it's like, go on.
obviously understanding that okay, we are understanding that the world we're living in is quite a masculine world, isn't it? And a lot of men do cheat, innit? So if a lot of men do cheat, innit? Let's just say that. Can we just agree with that?
Based on
statement?
what?
A lot of men do cheat.
Based on what?
And a lot of women do
What
cheat.
statistics? You
bro.
know what I mean?
It's
You know what I mean? You can break it down and say a lot of
Wait,
black men cheat, and it goes based on what?
Yeah,
Like,
but hear what I'm saying, innit? So I'm just talking from the male perspective of traits of toxic masculinity that are common in men that have just
But
grown up
Toxic
in
masculinity
that's a
affects
different
everyone.
conversation.
Like girls
Yeah, you
get
want
affected
toxic
by
masculinity?
toxic
different
masculinity,
conversation.
and they have to go through certain things as well. Like
men
it's
also
nuts.
deal with things within toxic masculinity.
That's what
that they're not
Eurocentric,
dealt with.
masculine, white male-dominated society is. Everyone's affected, not just men. Women are affected too. So we all think in a certain way, and don't like women. Some women might do things that other women might consider they don't respect themselves because of things that they have to feel like they prove to validate to men. Like, do you get what I mean? Like,
The bottom line of all of it is
there's bare shit that happens, man.
So,
Like,
the bottom line of all of it is all of these like stats and statistics to break down the sections of what the bigger problem is just creates a bigger argument that is not necessary. The bottom line is people have shit they need to deal with. Deal with your shit. You know what I mean? That's it. That's all. Sip your tea and mind your business. You know what I mean? If there's a problem, if someone's not, vibrating at your frequency, if someone's not with it, cool, I get it.
This shit has existed
it's fine, it's all right.
ever since human beings were about, bro. It's not going away.
These are
People are gonna be
problems,
people.
you know what I mean?
You just have to focus on what you want, and then it will come out. Like, it will just come out for you. Like, monogamy and polygamy is gonna be there. Like, cool.
So what makes people cheat then?
I don't know, because I'm not going through that.
There's lots of different reasons. There's loads of reasons.
I've never cheated on anyone.
Insecurities, greed, greed, dissatisfaction,
Curiosity.
just not being
childish
content within your own
immaturity. Like, there's
self.
lots of different reasons as to why people cheat.
Yeah.
Word.
The bottom line is it's wrong. It makes people feel bad.
Word.
You know what I mean? You communicate with who you do your thing with. You know what you like, what you don't like.
Yeah.
You do that. If you step out of it, yes, the person's hurt. They stepped out of it. Cool. Keep it moving.
That's actually
I just
another
think
point I
we've
wanted to
got-
add
deal
on.
with
Some
that
people
pain
do
that
it to
you deal with that
intentionally
pain
hurt their
and
partners
keep it
because they get a
moving.
thrill out of it.
Just know what
There
you're
are some
agreeing
people
to.
Yeah,
out
they
there that
do. There's some
intentionally
sickos,
cheat on their
man.
partners or intentionally piss them off.
They are psychopaths.
Just because they're bored.
That's the next
Because-
thing, though. That's
you know
the
what I'm
next
saying?
thing.
It is the next thing, but that's
Psychopath
one of
for
the
a
reasons
minute.
as well. There's some evil men out there and there's some evil gal as well.
Yeah.
Trying
I'm
to.
telling you, bro.
Right.
People out there just doing bad.
And if you know yourself,
And the worst part is some of them
The
won't
harder
even.
you fight to
Some of them
know
won't even
yourself.
hide it. Some of them will let you catch them. Like actually let you catch them doing it just because.
that's sick still. As in,
That's nuts.
it's nuts. As in, like, yo.
Chelsea.
Bro.
But yeah, probably like, yo.
I'm actually trying to get into what would
Of the
even motivate
mindset
you
of
to
somebody
do
that wants to do that, yeah. There's some evil people out there, man.
To get caught cheating.
To get caught cheating.
You watch Cheaters, innit? You watch Cheaters, innit?
That's a mad show.
It's Miami CIS
Alright,
and
so
all
yeah,
of them.
the last thing I was saying is that so we kind of just decided that we don't really have a common definition of cheating, and we essentially means everybody has their own personal way of understanding what cheating is, and you can go out and do your business. So we're essentially not looking to tackle. We're not seeing it as a problem.
It is a problem, but it doesn't need to be defined because
It doesn't
everybody
need to be
has a
your problem.
different
It doesn't need to be your
perspective.
problem. You know what? It does need to be your problem, and your problem only. That's really what it should be. You know what I mean? You're in a relationship with someone. Again, if someone's you know what I mean? Like, as in, I get why it's a conversation for the wider public because again, there are lots of platforms and you know what I mean, like circles where people feel bad and they don't. This is another thing about dealing with your own pain, you know what I mean? A lot of people don't like to deal with their own pain and they like to reflect pain on other people. That's just how some people deal with pain, you know what I mean? Some people do know how to just deal with it. For example, you said you're very proactive, you know what I mean? As in, if you feel a way about something, you deal with it straight away. Some people fester in that bit. Like, people deal with pain differently, but the bottom line of it all is when you deal with your own pain, you then start to heal yourself. That's when you know what the pain is and you start to heal it, the more better version of yourself you become, the better you become at communicating, the better you come with dealing with insecurities, dealing with the things that people in relationships have, you know what I mean? Which is why you take your time, get to know whoever you need to get to know, understand yourself, heal, make sure you're completely healed before you bleed into your next relationship. Mixing blood is toxic.
And then as well, because just last thing though, to add on to that, that's so true because if you're taking the time, like you're saying, to get to know people, then you will understand what traumas and pains they're going through, and then you can communicate along the journey with that. So something like that wouldn't even happen because you're helping them. Because if you're trying to get to know someone like that, you're mixing your souls, you're intertwining your fucking souls by trying to fall in love with someone like that. So
grow together.
Yeah, you will grow, and that won't happen. But when communication don't happen, which is this whole conversation is, and you don't know yourself enough, and then you can go and bring that to someone, then you're not gonna hear each other's traumas and shit, and then I don't know, man. It just happens, innit? This is what I'm saying. I know it's tough, maybe because there might be people out there who feel rah, but I was faithful and someone cheated on me. that's cool, but like at the
Person
same
is a
time,
dickhead.
you're always attracting like mirrors of yourself. So there might be something in you that attracted that person that you haven't addressed, and like they in some way like highlighted that for yourself, and then that thing never happens to you again because you know how to carry yourself the next time, and like you I don't know, you like level up from that. It doesn't have to be an L in it. Like if someone cheats on you, it doesn't have to be an L. Like
Nothing
you
has to be
learn,
an L.
and then
Win
it might never happen
or
to you again.
learn. That's what the L is. The L is
So do you
learn.
guys
Okay,
believe
so
in
wait,
relationships?
wait,
If you get cheated on, do you
guys.
believe in fixing relationships after that?
I don't think we should move on
Not
from
with the same
there,
person,
he
because they're not on
said
the wavelength.
he
They already
said
showed
he
you
said
that.
something that can be quite, it's a bit problematic.
Really? What
So do you mean that the onus is on the other party
No.
who was faithful? That because you basically said that there's an aspect of someone's, I don't know what you want to call it, but something
in
in
you.
them that attracted.
Yeah, but that's
a
also
cheater.
that's
No,
also
I'm saying in a sense that there was something in your personality that you overlooked and brought to someone else, and your relationship grew in a certain way for them to even get into a space where they could feel like they could do that to you. Because there are people out there who never do that to each other, and that's how they do it. Like, because they get to know each other, like intimately, and heal each other, like when they're getting to know each other. That's what I'm saying to you. Like, not that it's just you know, you did everything you needed to do, and then like.
So does that justify cheating then?
It doesn't justify cheating. It just means that obviously there's a lesson you can take away from it, because everything that happens to you in life, you have to look as a lesson for yourself. That's how you keep going forward.
Can there be a justification for cheating then?
There can be excuses.
No,
What makes it? What can make it?
if you feel
is the
any type
acceptance
of way
that
against
excuse,
your
so-
partner,
'Cause you're not-
you just tell them that there is no justification. If I don't want to be with you anymore, or I'm having interest with somebody else, I'm going to tell you that, and I'm off.
And that's good.
That is where cheating should not be a thing. Just fucking excuse my language, but just speak. Like that is why is that so hard? That is what the real question is. Why are we not speaking to each other about it? What are you scared of? Like that's it. There's no justification.
Because you're agreeing to believe
You don't
in one
need to
thing,
deliberately
which is
hurt
each other.
someone. Just say bye. Go bye. That's easy.
If they don't want that, you find someone else who wants
It's
that.
actually, it's so bizarre. It's absolutely bizarre. No, seriously.
No, I
Don't
completely
make sense.
agree. I don't think there's any justification. I think that there might be things that could lead up to it, but then again, and obviously I explained how I would handle cheating, which is why I would handle it that way. Because people always say, people ask the question, oh, do you have the potential to cheat? Or is it like, and it might even be a question I throw out at you guys. I personally think that everyone is capable. You are capable of doing it now, but you are in control of whether you do it or not. I think everyone, and hence why I said for myself, I feel like in a way it starts with what I'm thinking already, and that shows me that I am capable. If I want to, I can do it, which is why I would always be honest with my partner with what I'm thinking or how I'm feeling about someone already, because the potential is there for it to happen. So I don't think there's any justification, because like I was saying, it begins here. It begins, you see someone, you know that's not your partner, you're attracted to them, you might start, maybe they might be at your workplace, you start engaging in conversation, whatever, and then it's always a build-up. So you have to be the one to nip it in the bud, and once you don't nip it in the bud, then it's on you. You gave that was the green lights when you did nip it in the bud.
That's what they talk about, man. Like that's that animal part of you, innit? Like we all have it, bro. Like people just don't want to admit it, but like we're humans, innit?
Yeah,
We all
everyone has
have that.
tempting
But it's
faults.
just being long then. That's all it is. We all have it in us to be long. Like,
Yeah,
no,
we do.
No, I'm not here to have my time wasted or to waste someone
Yeah, but
else's
again,
time.
that's-
It's just being long. You can either deal with it there and then, tell you, look, we've had a good run, time to go, see you later. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I'm not saying you should
you just
say it.
long it out for 6 more months, deal with tears, deal with arguing, deal with... Why would you do that? Why?
I'm not saying you should do that, but
It's
some
mad.
people do that. I
It's
don't know why
just
they do that.
ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
It's just you have to know what to agree to, innit? Like,
No, just clearly people just like having their time wasted. That's all it is. You're just being long for fun. Like, how can you enjoy putting someone through that or putting yourself through that? It's
I don't know what
ridiculous.
the hell they went
Oh
through.
my
innit?
God.
Like, I don't know
Told
what they
you,
went
there's
through.
evil people out there.
People go through some shit. I don't know what it is.
I
Oh,
genuinely feel
please.
like sometimes some
Not
people
all.
they need help to deal with the issue of of cheating. Like, it's an issue that they need someone to help them with.
What?
What do you mean?
Yeah,
Sorry,
he's saying
cheating.
No, but he's saying it in a way like.
Which one?
What, to complete the act of cheating? Obviously, they're going to need some help with that because you need an expert to cheat.
Listen. Imagine, like, let's put it in a story, yeah? Imagine there's a little kid, he's 5 years old, he sees his, I don't know, he's got like an abusive parent, like, I don't know, or something, like, these are situations that happen, like, he sees that relationship, yeah, he sees one parent being like, you know, like non-faithful to their other half, and then he sees mad shit at home. That's programmed into that kid. That kid's gonna grow up in life, might go through certain situations in life where he looks presentable and can come across nice to girls, but then still hasn't dealt with that childhood trauma, so that just keeps manifesting for him because he saw that when he was a kid and he eventually does it. Shit like that happens. I'm not saying every situation is like that, but understand there are so many different perspectives and realities that are happening for people. Like, just like that, but
of course,
different variations. You can't put any single one stamp on any one situation. You can't, like, it's impossible.
I think it comes to like self-esteem and like knowing yourself, as we was kind of getting to at the end of it. Like, you have to have self-esteem. As you said, some people cheat because they're in arguing with the other partner and they want to get back at them or some shit. I don't know. So it just comes to self-esteem, knowing yourself, being worthy enough to say, actually, I'm bored of you, I'm gonna move on. I'm allowed to do so because I'm not bound to you, rather than cheat and end up in a long list, or do you understand?